My name is Michael Miller. Thank you for joining us today.
Thank you, Michael, for inviting me. I'm so happy to be here.
Okay, so tell us a little bit about yourself. Part of your story.
Well, part of my story is that I come from New York, a city that is so beautiful right now. What's going on there? But I'm so happy to be in Miami. Miami is definitely a place to be right now. There is so many things going on in the city. There's a lot of advantage for the weather to start with, and a lot of companies that come over here. So I am very happy over here to actually see what's there and what can we do for the city.
So we know because of that disease, we won't mention that particular disease that's running around, where people from California and New York and New Jersey are coming down to enjoy what we have down here, which is much more wide open spaces with some exceptions. So, but why did you come here?
Well, I come here because of the weather, actually. You know, I was living in New York for so many years, and I remember the blizzard of 96. And I say to my mom, I think that it's time to move either to California, thank God we didn't, or to Miami. And I had a lot of friends here. So Miami is the town.
So down here, for us original people from down here in South Florida, Miami, when you move down here for the sunshine, not for the money.
Exactly.
All right. And
the last thing in your mind is money.
Yes. So you came down here. When did you move here?
I moved here in 1997.
Okay.
You know, and it was not a boom as it is right now, but it was very good. And then I have very good friends over here.
So when you moved here, did you know folks that were here?
Yes.
And,
yes.
All right. So 1997, 2007, so 25 years.
A lot.
All right.
Yes.
So
don't tell me about that. The years, they don't come along, you know.
Yes. So for the 20 plus years you've been here, tell us some of the things that you've been doing.
Well, you know, when I came over here, actually, and I have a friend of mine who had a magazine over here. So coming from New York, I work in Condé Nast in New York. So when I come over here, I says, what am I going to do over here? Miami is just like, I thought it's a little town. At that time, it was like, oh, this for me is so like piece of cake. So when I came over here, a friend of mine had a magazine.
What was the name of it?
Miami Latin Business.
Yes, okay.
My Latin Business magazine.
Yes.
So it was interesting. So I started working with the guy, and then we did I learned a little more of the community and how really the market works in Florida. It was very different than New York. So for me, it was just like a little slow as usual. You know, when you go places over here, it's like, tomorrow. But little by little, you know, I got the message. And since then, I've been enjoying it.
Compared to New York.
To New York. Because New York, you know, when you cross the street, they cross you no matter what. It's just such a hurry for everything.
So you came down, you started working at Latin.
The Latin magazine. I was doing the advertising for the magazine. And I was also doing a little interviews, helping Jay Paver. Like, he was very nice guy. And I learned a lot of things, and I met a lot of people here also through banking and stuff.
So with the magazine, was it a part of Miami, just north end, south end, throughout the county? How was that?
Most of all, the business were for Latin America, because Miami still is door for Latin America. Like everybody from South and Latin and the Caribbean, they all come over here. So we were based on those kind of markets.
So there was a woman that she still works here. She worked for a fellow that it was a wholesale magazine for all the the exporters.
Yes.
And it was a smaller magazine. So she would have all her magazines. She'd distribute some here, but mostly her market was overseas. So when people came over here, they would go to whatever exporter was and say, this is the stuff I want, and be able to take that stuff and send it back home.
No, and it's good too, because we have one of the biggest ports actually in all America.
Volleyball?
So, no, the port.
Oh, the port.
The port.
Oh, it's my hearing. Sports,
yes.
Port.
No, right. Probably my accent also helps a little bit right there, but that's what is beautiful about.
What did you say?
Exactly. So, you know, the Port of Miami is such an amazing stuff to have here. And we don't really, you know, because we live in Miami now, as a citizens of this city, we take a lot of things for granted. I remember when I was in New York, when I was coming into Miami, I used to appreciate the palm trees. It's like, oh my God, what a beautiful, beautiful palm trees. Since you're in the plane, you see the palm trees. For me, that was amazing. I'm here. I don't even look at the palm trees anymore.
Well, it's funny you brought up the port. With Carnival Cruise Lines, even though they're still right now, they're putting up a new berth. spending tens of millions of dollars to do that, anticipating 2022 business.
Wow,
right?
the new building that they deliver over there is amazing. It looks like a ship.
Yes.
It's amazing. It's spending a lot of millions of dollars in there.
Yes.
And then this pandemic comes in and nobody is really enjoying it.
A friend of mine took some pictures at the airport the other day that came in from South America. It's completely empty. It was like 9/11. Even though there are a lot of people that are traveling, he must have been in a certain area where it was like that. Well, Lester Sola, who's the director of Miami International Airport, we interviewed him last week. And he's very hopeful.
What do you say? But he's saying that this
yes, it is
coming along.
It is coming along very nicely. And right now, only a small percentage of people have received their second vaccines. But within a month, the vaccine is going to be available to most people. And depending on how they
it's so funny you talk about the vaccines because this morning, actually, I just came from Hollywood. So I was at Broward Hollywood, Broward South Hospital. So I didn't go inside because they have a bunch of nurses out there putting the shots right now and there's so many people in there. I was so surprised. And I just came up from there because I was directing something. And it's unbelievable how many people are there already for the second shot.
Yes.
Almost.
It's huge.
They get the first shot, now the second. Now I heard that Johnson & Johnson is coming in the next in April round with just one shot.
Throughout the state, there's 1.25 million that are waiting for their second shot, meaning it's coming up in the next 2 to 3 weeks.
Yeah.
So before too long, people in South Florida, where we have a huge population, there's 5 million people in the 3 counties that are here. I think it'll be generally available. And for our folks that are over 65 here, I barely got in that. All right.
So you're not there yet, are you?
Not yet, but soon. Right?
I don't think
we have
so.
85% of our people over the age of 62 actually have been vaccinated.
They accepted them? Only from 62? No, really, because he's 65 and up.
Yes. So there, and one of the reasons is there's this great big push for people that don't have access to the internet, that are poor, that don't have vehicles, is because the inequities of life, which is, you have the wealthy who are able to get this stuff right away. And then you have the other people, they can't sit in wheelchairs. They don't have people to take care of them. That's why there's been that big push to take care of them first, because the other people are able to live a little bit better lifestyle. And a lot of them have already had those shots. There are 500,000 seniors in Miami-Dade County. And I think within a month or so that most of them that want it will be able to get that. So tell us what the last couple of weeks, what sort of work you've been doing. How do you keep yourself occupied?
Well, right now, I, as always, I do my interior designer for different projects also that I've been doing, some very high-end houses and some apartments. And so also I've been working with putting nurses in places to do the COVID vaccine for some people.
So how did you get involved in that?
With the COVID? I have a friend of mine who has a staffing agency.
Okay.
So she called me from Tennessee. And so she asked me, Claudia, since you know some few people, do you think that I did the study in Florida for this kind of market for nurses, to put nurses in different places? And I said, well, I know some people, and I know probably some assisted living facilities owners that I could connect you with. And so she came over here, she opened an office, I will help her and do all of that. So lately I've been doing that with her a lot. So I got 3 places that I gave her the contract for these 3 places. And so
that's providing people that can inject.
Providing the nurses. So one of my friends did a very big contract with the state of Florida to send nurses to different places. And this is the one I went today in Broward Health, because they have a bunch of nurses over there doing the vaccine for these people.
So those nurses, are those local or are they coming in from other states?
No, they're local right now. And then there is a shortage, really. They need nurses. They ask us if we could provide 300 nurses. I say, do you have 300 nurses like a speed dial or something? I don't know. It's very hard. So she brought some nurses from Tennessee that she has them over here living. But, to have to give the opportunity to local nurses over here in Florida. And there's so many.
That's great.
I never saw that is so. I never thought that Florida will need something like that. So it's not stopping. no stopping. They also send the nurses to assisted living facilities. They have a contract with some of the assisted living facilities for them to go over there or hold some people homes. People pay, the Medicare actually pay for that, and they don't know. The Medicare pay for the nurse to go to people homes and then injected the child.
That's certainly an expensive way to provide.
Well, that I never heard of Medicare and Medicare, of course I know, but the Medicaid also, they are helping nurses with the Medicaid to go to people's homes that they cannot afford it.
Okay.
Interesting.
So how do you find those nurses?
Indeed. And word of mouth. Yes.
So you look on Indeed and you're looking for nurses that
RNs
that are what? They are on there because they're looking for work or because
they're looking for work. And there's so many on Indeed looking for work.
The nurses.
So, but there's a certain kind of employers that they look for that. So you have to go to that kind of a field, like staffing agencies for medical. Or there is another thing, it's called Zenit. And also it's through through a hospital, I think it's Jackson. They have this special system. And so you go over there and bid, like you bidding for the project, so you bid for you to be as a vendor in their system.
And you spoke about vendors and the projects, and you mentioned about you do some designing on homes. Tell us about that.
Well, I love that because, I am very creative. And so I like to bring my ideas when somebody's going to do a new kitchen, a new bathroom, a new backyard, and put a lot of things in there. So I'm very good with that. And I have some of my friends that they have companies that they provide the cabinets and, doors or whatever that's needed for that. So, and I have also in construction, a little bit of experience in construction. So I do a little bit of everything. It's nice to keep.
So how do you find clients?
You have to get word of mouth, get out there. Nothing is going to fall when you sit down.
That's true. You made out a list of possible shows. All right.
Yes.
And so I'll just pick some of them. Some real estate people, some attorneys, prison warden and guards, and some philanthropists.
Yes.
So tell us about who you, generally speaking, in those categories. Who you're thinking about and how you would approach them.
Well, you know what? One of the ones that I have two of my good friends that they're philanthropists. So they look for some things to help. So one of them is she loves dogs, and because of her, I have the dog that I have now. So she helps a lot of shelters and stuff like that. And so she will go with me everywhere to promote that. So we could do a lot of things with that. And another one is to promote what is going on right now in terms of health. So we could do a lot of things with the home health care, and they will promote also that, that's a lot of things. And also we could promote things in health. A lot of the hospitals and clinics will promote a lot of things, especially now with heart disease, glaucoma, cervical cancer, things like that. There's a lot of.
We just did a Facebook Live working with Baptist Hospital and PBS with Dr. Zimmer, and Fauci was there.
Oh, yeah.
And two other internationally known doctors. And 39,000 people so far have looked at that. So we're pleased to be able to participate in that. We also have actually a cardiologist was just here, and then a endocrinologist who was here. She works at Miami Cancer Institute, spoke about thyroids and
thyroid,
and we realize that there are people are more concerned about health than before, because everybody knows somebody that's been affected by the disease, and it's pretty interesting. And we recognize that as a big market for us, and that we have most of the hospitals are participating with us in some level throughout the county, whether it's online or in the newspapers or as we're sitting here. So also we have starting next week, Chris Wolf, who he has an organization, I think it's called Men Coming Home. He's been working with prisoners that have been in prison. People have been in prison for more than 25 years.
Wow.
So he works with them prior to them getting out, and he is their mentor, and he gets them positioned. He's been doing it for a long time. He has a 1% recidivism rate, which is like tiny. All right, so he's going to be filming from here starting next week.
Does he has a good success with that?
Yes.
He has done.
Yes.
Because it's hard for somebody to come from,
of course,
to the system after being locked up for a long time.
I know one gentleman was in prison for 13 months, and then he spent 8 months here in his halfway house stuff, and still at the end of that, he was still wondering about it. There's somebody else who spent 9 years in prison, right, on money laundering and all that stuff. The impact when they walk out of prison of like, wow, it looks different. It is different.
Very. They had to work. They had to go out there and find.
Yes.
I don't know if they make money inside. I don't know how you do that.
When they go out, I know that there was a one or two women that I met that had been in prison for 3 or 4 years, and she kept saying she didn't do it. Right?
They're never doing it.
It doesn't matter anywhere whether you did it or not. The object is that you spent years in prison.
Do people that give them a chance? Because society, I had to, sometimes it's bad because they don't give him a second chance. A lot of people they don't trust people like that, which is bad because you know what? You have to give people chances.
And we recognize that we as people are very forgiving, all right, overall, because we look at all the people that are out there that did stuff, right? And then after you get even on the inside, whatever that is, now what? Because if we don't do something as society, what are they going to do? They're going to go back and they're going to rob you and they're going to go back to prison. That's just
yes.
So Chris is going to do a very good job, and
that's amazing.
We already have his 10 by 12 banner.
Oh yeah.
There, men coming home with Susan's going to show you that, and we have another studio in the back that Tommy's going to be the king of, I suspect. Did I get that right, Tommy? Yes. And two different sets. One is a table a little bit smaller than this, a little more intimate, and then we have a living room set. And so we're pretty happy with that.
Yeah.
So what type of folks do you think might be interested in either sponsoring shows like this that we're doing or advertising on those shows? A little bit different. Sponsorship, we look at it as they do the whole show, and they're gonna do a series of 8 shows, all right? And they're gonna be the one, we want to thank so and so, for being our sponsor.
Absolutely.
And Tommy puts up on the screen their logos throughout that. So they do the whole show versus somebody that's advertising. They would not be the sponsor. We would
just an ad, little thing in there or whatever it is. Yeah.
So it's a little bit, and the mindset is a little bit different. So what kind of businesses do you think would be interested in sponsoring shows that you would be doing?
Well, I think most of the ones to sponsorship is the ones that they have very big business and they help a lot in the community. Those are the ones that are going to be a sponsor. I would say somebody like a home health center, somebody that is involved in, some kind of philanthropy, and they have the people that they know, some car dealerships that they do a lot of things like that.
Well, by the way, so we do a show. His name is Tommy Les what? What's his name?
Winston.
Les Winston. And he does a show on philanthropy.
Interesting.
And Tommy, it's not for it's for people to do that, right?
Yeah, it's for people who does the philanthropy.
Yes, listen.
Yes.
And so he was speaking to somebody yesterday. I think it was another philanthropist. I'll get tongue-tied here in a moment. Right? And
so no, I mean, that is what I'm thinking of. People who has big business that they are doing something in the community, of people that, like South Health, hospital, or Jackson Memorial Hospital, things like that. Something like really big that if depends on what we are talking on that time. So I will approach and say, listen, I'm doing this show on something like this. We would like to be a sponsoring.
So here's one.
They are eager to do that because they want to be out.
Yes. So there are. There's one gentleman we're working with who are putting together tech shows, all right?
Yes.
And so he's going after folks that are interested in that involvement. It's not going to be Publix, it's going to be somebody in the technical arena that wants to be seen with that.
Right.
Versus just getting a regular advertiser to sponsor it. So when there's that connection, right, the viewer sees it, and it's a stronger, more compassionate feeling.
Right.
Just like the TV shows in the afternoon are different, right?
Very.
Than the
You
TV
have to
show.
catch, in the mornings it's like wives and stuff like that, because they're there. In the afternoon at night, most of the men out there, because really, so you see more alcohol, more cars, because cars is the number one
Yes.
advertising in the world.
Yes.
You know that.
So I see that General Motors is going to be 100% electric within 15 years, which is
Wow.
extraordinary.
That's
right?
amazing.
Yes.
You know what happened today when I was just coming over here? So I went to do something in my apartment. So I was preparing everything to come over here. So I was just leaving. So I take my dog a little bit out before I came over here. So I saw this little thing coming. It was like a robot, but it has wheels and everything, and it has a little flag. So everybody, one of my neighbors says, "Hey, do you know what is that thing? What is that thing coming towards you?" And I says, "What?" So I saw that. I says, "What is that? A robot? A dog? What is it?" But no, it's a delivery. So they just got it out today to experiment. So it looks so cool, because it looks like a little box coming, like a square white, and it has a little computer on top, and then you could see the package also, because it's kind of clear.
Okay.
Interesting.
We have just a couple minutes left.
Yeah.
All right. So one of the things we enjoy doing is getting folks to share some good thoughts with some young person that's out there. So which camera should she look into? This one right
With
over
what?
there. And talk directly to them. I want you to think there's an 18-year-old or 20-year-old watching you, and they say, and they're looking for some direction in their life. Say something positive to them in about 35 to 45 seconds.
Okay.
There you go. Look right in that camera right there.
Hey, and the youth out there, you can do anything that you want. Your mind is a powerful weapon. So anything you put your mind to it, just go for it. Follow your instincts, always good. Follow the right path, and look for somebody that is very influential and positive in your life.
Great. Thank you very much. And again, folks, thank you for joining us. This is live with Rhymes Community News. I want to thank Claudia Valencia from Coconut Grove area-ish.
Absolutely.
Did I get that right? And Tommy, thank you very much. And folks, have a great afternoon. See
Yes,
ya.
thank you, Michael.
All right.